Good evening. You're watching the news on Croatian television. Prime Minister Andrej Plenković has met with Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban on the fringes of the 16+1 summit of Central and Eastern European countries and China in Budapest. Relations between Croatia and Hungary have been strained for years over how Hungary's oil group MOL is managing Croatia's INA. Both leaders pledged to work on the issue. Orban said that Hungary was willing to help Croatia repurchase MOL's stake in INA.
We addressed today all of the issues that concern Croatia and Hungary. First and foremost, we are pleased that bilateral trade has increased. More than 500,000 Hungarians, including the Prime Minister, have visited Croatia and helped make our tourism season a success. With regard to INA and MOL, the Hungarian side is ready to help Croatia buy back MOL's shares in INA. We are working on that. The political will is clear.
We have overlooked or the general relation between the two nations. We realize that there are some very good developments in the recent years, thanks to the government of Croatia, who was very supportive to improve the cooperation between the two countries' economy especially, and the figures are promising. The trade is growing. We have an excellent political relation between the two governments, and we have an excellent historical relation between the two nations, and we would not like to poison that relation with that kind of special issue like MOL-INA.
The HDZ-led majority on the Constitutional Committee in Parliament voted down a motion by the Social Democrats that would allow the Agrokor Commission to continue working. The HDZ argues the Commission's work ended the moment a criminal investigation into the Agrokor debt crisis became official earlier this month. Although the opposition still insists that the HDZ's interpretation of the law is flawed, SDP MP Orsat Miljenić says he's pleased that a formal decision had been made.
Despite their flawed actions, I welcome the fact that they have admitted their mistake. All last week, they insisted that there was no need for a decision and that the Commission simply disappears by virtue of the law. Now they have taken a step back, the HDZ and the People's Party, and formalized their position, although it is wrong in my opinion. The Commission will continue to exist in the case that the criminal investigation does not result in an indictment, or if there is an indictment and the county court does not confirm it. The Commission's work will also resume. As long as the case is being adjudicated in the courts, the Commission is on hold.
The dismantling of the Agrokor Commission remains a hotly debated issue in Parliament. Opposition MPs continue to claim the HDZ wants to dissolve the Commission to prevent information coming out about the involvement of their past governments in some dubious deals involving Agrokor.
The ease with which all of the disputes, incidents and suspicions can be swept under the rug is unbearable. Vupik is a great example. Ivica Todorić struck the deal of the century. He made 270 million kuna in just a few months at the expense of the state. The same leaders who are dismantling this commission today so that their involvement can remain a secret are the ones who facilitated all of this.
The HDZ has forwarded to lawmakers amendments to the criminal code and legislation regulating criminal records. The changes would introduce tougher sentences for child sex exploitation and sexual abuse, abolish a statute of limitations on such crimes, and make the records of convicted child sex offenders permanent.
These are specific kinds of crimes that children often only report after they become adults. It can take 10, 15, 20 years for someone to decide to report these crimes, and when they do, the perpetrators cannot be tried because of the statute of limitations. We're changing that. And what is also important, if these offenders go unpunished, they may repeat the crime.
A summit of the African Union and the European Union will open on Wednesday in the capital of Ivory Coast. The president of the European Parliament, Antonio Tajani, has arrived in Abidjan along with other leaders. There are many issues on the agenda, but for Europeans, the most important one is migration, how to stop the influx of African migrants into Europe. On the eve of the Africa-EU summit, the president of the European Commission, Jean-Claude Juncker, condemned the situation in Libya, the leading transit country for African refugees hoping to reach Europe. He said Europe should not close its eyes to the rising slave trade in migrants in Libya, which is partly a consequence of Europe's tougher enforcement of its external border.
The controls have been improved, and they needed to be improved. And the fact that there are a growing number of refugees on Libyan territory who are no longer able to get to Europe across the Mediterranean is no excuse for raping, killing, and robbing people. They are in camps that are like prisons, not refugee camps.
A family near Samobor has turned their organic chicken farm into an educational attraction. In the quest to produce the best possible free-range eggs, the Franja family have designed a whole lifestyle for their chickens, and visitors are welcomed, especially school children. They even hired an architect to design their poultry town called Chickenville.
After many years in the hospitality business, we came up with some new ideas, and one was organic chicken farming. We wanted to create something that would be interesting to people who know nothing about this type of farming.
The hen house, that's in the middle of the space. Our public buildings, so to speak, function like they would in a little town, and the hen house with the baby chicks is right in the main square.
In sports, Croatia is set to host the European Handball Championships in a month and a half. However, the Croatian Handball Federation has yet to sign a contract with the main venue, the Spaladium Arena in Split. The Handball Federation canceled their visit to the city today, but they insist there is no reason to worry. The tournament is scheduled to open on January 12th. Croatia will play Serbia in the opening match, which is sold out.
A weather system bringing clouds and rain will move over the northern Adriatic overnight and set in over the rest of the country tomorrow. The mountains can expect snow, while the coast may see some heavier downpours and local thunderstorms. There will be a high to gale-force southeasterly wind along the shore. Morning lows will range from -3 to +2 in the interior and from 6 to 11 on the coast. The day's highs will be between 3 and 8 degrees inland and between 11 and 15 on the Adriatic. Rain is expected in the valleys and snow in the mountains on Thursday. There may be some snow flurries in the valleys of northwestern Croatia as well. Conditions will improve on Friday. There may still be some traces of light snow on Friday morning in the west and late Friday in the east. Cloudy skies and more snow are expected on Saturday. The south sections of the coast will see some heavy rain on Thursday. There will also be a very high southeasterly wind. The rest of the coast can expect some light rain and a northwesterly. It will be mostly sunny along the entire coast on Friday, but more clouds and rain are expected on Saturday, especially in the south. The foothills of the Velebit mountain range may also see some snow carried by high northeasterly winds.
And that brings us to the end of our program. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you again tomorrow.